Hi tribe, we are in November, which means in exactly 31 days, we will say goodbye to the year 2024. At the same time, we will finish our 2024's 1 million emergency fund challenge. If you're new here, let me bring you up to speed. At the beginning of this year, we started this challenge where we wanted to save 1 million shillings to act as our 1 year emergency fund. How have we been doing this? Every month, we have been depositing 83,333 shillings in our Sanlam Money Market Fund. Yes, in our Sanlam Money Market Fund to go towards building this 1 million shillings in our emergency fund. If you've been taking part in this challenge, at the end of November, you should have 916,663 shillings in your Sanlam Money Market Fund account. And if you're new here and you're wondering, how is it possible that everyone was able to put aside 83,333 shillings every month in their Sanlam Money Market Fund account? The truth is, not everyone was able to do that because people are in different income brackets, people have different savings rates, people are in different financial situations, and therefore, yes, at the beginning of this year, the goal was to have as many people as possible be able to put aside 83,333 shillings every month in their Sanlam Money Market Fund account. But yes, there were people who said that, and I knew there were people who would not be able to put aside that much in their account. And so I encouraged everyone to join the challenge. It didn't matter whether you were able to put aside 2,500 per month, 10,000 per month, 20,000 per month, whichever amount you were able to put towards this, to put towards joining this challenge. Everyone was welcome. And it is better for you to start January 2025 with 200,000 in your money market fund account than to start with zero. Yes, so if you have been taking part in this challenge, can you believe that we have been doing this consistently for the past 11 months? I'm so proud of myself. And at the same time, I'm super proud of you. We are 1 month to go. And there's something that has been making me a bit worried about this challenge. And this thing is Black Friday. There are so many, even on social media, right? And most of us are, there are so many messages about Black Friday, about this is what you should buy, you should upgrade your electronics, you should upgrade your wardrobe, you should buy new furniture, so many things, right? And so Black Friday is upon us. And so I have been worried because I'm wondering, are my wealth tribers, right, who've been taking part in this 1 million emergency fund challenge, going to withdraw their funds so that they can buy something they do not need? I would like to remind you that the reason we started this challenge, or the reason we've been taking part in this challenge, is to save our emergency fund, right? Emergency fund. And so an emergency fund is money that we set aside to be able to cover or to be able to cater for our unexpected costs, right? So remember, one of the questions I keep asking you is that if you lost your job tomorrow, how long would you last while maintaining the same lifestyle? And I always say, if the answer to that question is not 6 months and above, then you are living on the edge, and that it's an emergency for you to start saving your emergency fund. And so remember that this is the reason we were saving this amount of money. This was not an amount of money that we were accumulating and then we blow it just because of Christmas, or we blow all this money because of Black Friday, or we blow this money just because as Kenyans say, it is sherehe season. No. So I am making this video because I wouldn't want a situation where you write to me in a month or a week and tell me that all the hard work that you've been putting in throughout the year has gone down the drain just because of Black Friday. And so as I was thinking about it, I thought, what tip can I share to help you think through your purchases, if at all you're going to spend any money? And let's say it's not necessarily money that we have been putting aside. Maybe you have even a sinking fund, or you have other money that you'd like to spend during this Black Friday, because there's nothing wrong with buying things when they're on sale, especially if you need them. But I thought, what tip can I share with you to help you navigate this chaotic sherehe season, or chaotic sales and marketing tactics season? I want to share with you a tip that I think is going to be very useful when you're thinking about analyzing your purchases this festive season. I want you to analyze your purchases based on cost per use. A great way to know what brings you the most value so you don't waste money is by applying the cost per use formula. And so what is the cost per use formula? The cost per use formula is where you divide the total cost of the item that you're about to buy by the frequency you'll use it. So for example, imagine that you'd like to buy a laptop, and so you decide to go ahead and buy a laptop worth 1,500 USD. And so if you buy the 1,500 USD laptop and use that laptop every day for the next 365 days, then the cost per use of that laptop is $4.12. And how I have arrived at the $4.12 is simply dividing the 1,500 USD divided by 365 days. And if you continue to use that same laptop for another 365 days, for another year, it means that the cost per use of that laptop will actually go down to $2.05. And so if you think about it that way, then that was a good purchase. And to continue the examples, maybe I could ask you that imagine a situation where you own a pair of shoes that you bought for $100, and you also own a designer bag that you bought for $500. And so now that you understand how the cost per use formula works, which of these two items, the pair of shoes that you bought for $100 or the designer bag that you bought for $500, which one is the cheaper purchase between these two? And so at first glance, you'd think, of course, the pair of shoes that I bought for $100 is the cheaper purchase. But if you've only worn these shoes once, right, then the cost per use of that pair of shoes is $100. But imagine that you own that designer handbag or that designer bag that you bought for $500, and you've been taking that bag to work every day for the last 30 days. Then it means that the cost per use for this designer bag is $16. All I did is $500 divided by 30 days, which brings us to $16. So in reality, the handbag is a cheaper and more valuable item than the pair of shoes. So you understand? And so by applying the cost per use formula to any purchase that you're going to make during this season and forever in your life, you realize that the value of any item is directly related to how much use you get out of it. How much use you get out of it is what you should be thinking about. How much value and how much use you get out of it is how you should be thinking about the purchases that you make this season. And there are several advantages of applying the cost per use formula before making that purchase. And the first advantage is that it empowers you to decide what is a valuable purchase and which one is not a valuable purchase. And so as a personal finance coach or a personal finance YouTuber, I can go on to give you a list of expenses that you need to reduce or remove from your budget in order to save money. Or I could go on telling you how much money you should be spending on each of your budgeting categories. For example, I can tell you that you should not be spending more than 20,000 in your groceries, or you should not be spending more than 20,000 in clothing and footwear every month. I could go on, but at the end of the day, it is your money and it is your life, which means you're the best suited person to decide which purchases are valuable and which ones are not. And at the same time, you are the best suited person to decide how many times you're going to use that item that you're about to purchase and how important that item is in your lifestyle. And therefore, by applying this cost per use formula, you can decide that this is a valuable item. I foresee myself using this item so many times, and I see how this item can be plugged into my current lifestyle. And remember, it is not I can plug this item in my aspirational lifestyle. It is I can plug this item into my current lifestyle. The second advantage of using, or rather applying, the cost per use formula when you're making any purchase is that you're able to hold yourself accountable. Your favorite personal finance YouTuber or your accountability partner will not always be with you, or rather will not always be on your side when you're about to buy yet another pair of shoes. And so the idea is, before you hit checkout, do the math, right? Use the cost per use formula and ask yourself, this is the cost of this pair of shoes, and this is how many times I intend to wear. I think I am going to wear this pair of shoes for the next 1 month or for the next 1 year, if that is possible for you. And so before you hit checkout, do the math and ask yourself, how much value will I get out of this purchase? Advantage number 3 is that you get to be more intentional with your purchases. Discovering the concept of cost per use formula a few years ago actually helped me change my relationship with spending. So for example, when I'm shopping for clothing, I always look at the quality of the fabric, the quality of the stitching, the general construction of that garment. So usually I will lean in towards buying 100% cotton clothing or 100% linen, 100% leather, because I know that if I buy such items, then they're going to serve me for longer. I also always read the care labels in a garment. You see those white tags in every garment that you buy. I always read those care labels because I want to know, how am I supposed to take care of this garment? So for example, if there's a garment that demands that I cannot hand wash it, and so I have to dry clean it every single time, that means that it's going to take a lot of time and it's going to be more expensive to take care of this garment. And therefore I can make the decision that I'm not willing to spend X amount of money to be dry cleaning this item every single time I wear, right? And at the end of the day, in order for the cost per use formula to work for you, you have to take good care of your items, right? So for example, if you have blazers, if you have coats, if you have leather jackets, it is better for you to take them for dry cleaning as opposed to hand wash them, because in that way they are going to serve you for years, right? I have blazers in my closet that I've owned for the last 6 years, for the last 7. I even have one that I've owned for the last 9 years, simply because I take very good care of it. And when I was buying it, I looked at the fabric, the quality of the fabric, the quality of the construction, the quality of the stitching, and even the care labels. And so at the end of the day, I know that usually we think about a lot of our purchases in terms of the cost only, where we are thinking this is a cheap items, and so we end up buying very many low quality cheap items, and it looks okay at first, it looks very harmless at first, but at the end of it all, it adds up. These 200 shillings, 300 shillings, 500 shillings, 700 shillings that you're buying, that you're spending on shoes and clothing and everything else, will end up adding up and will end up delaying your financial freedom journey. And as someone who's gotten into a lot of debt, and I will link that video somewhere, as someone who's gotten into a lot of debt based on these, buying very, very many low quality items, it almost ends up burying your life, burying your life in clutter. You'll end up realizing that at the end of the day, buying very many low quality items actually leads to spending a lot of money, because you will need to keep replacing these items. So think of buying low quality electronics, and therefore you have to replace them every year or every 2 years. Buying low quality furniture, you have to end up replacing them every 2 years, every 3 years. Buying low quality clothing, and you have to end up buying new clothes every month or every 3 months. And so by analyzing your purchases using the cost per use formula, you'll also gradually, it won't happen overnight, but you'll also gradually put yourself in a position where you can afford to buy investment pieces. So a good example here is in 2020, I bought this 100% leather handbag, and it cost me 16,500. At the time, I thought it was so expensive, but you see, I've had this bag for the last 5 years. It fits everything, my laptop and every other thing a woman needs to put in their handbag, and it has served me so well, and I can foresee myself using this handbag for the next 10 years. So you see, instead of me buying very many cheap bags and having to replace them every 2 years and having to waste time going for shopping, which I don't enjoy, by the way, it is better to just put aside money and save towards something. And advantage number 4 of applying the cost per use formula before making any purchase is that it is the best way to stop your impulse buying habits. And so a lot of us struggle with, where did my money go at mid-month? And so if you apply the cost per use formula, it will help you to actually step back and analyze how many times that you will actually use the item that you're about to buy. When you apply the cost per use formula, you will also see the value of the item that you're about to buy, and most of the time you will realize that it is better to make plans way ahead of time, especially for big ticket items such as electronics, furniture, a car, vacations. And so in that way, you will be able to set aside, or you'll be able to set up a sinking fund where you set aside money every month and work towards buying that item, because now you will understand why it is so important to buy a high quality items that is going to serve you, that is going to be valuable in your life for years, as opposed to buying many low quality items. Advantage number 5 of applying the cost per use formula is that you realize that it makes decluttering easier. So if you apply the cost per use formula, it's going to be very easy for you to decide whether you actually need to keep the item or you need to get rid of it. When you apply the cost per use formula on the items that you already have, you realize that that expensive item that you have in your house, that you bought for your aspirational lifestyle and that has been gathering dust in your house, was just an absolute waste of money, because you've either never used it or you've only used it once. months. And so you'll also realize that this item, if for example it was $1,000, $500, you realize that actually this item used to be money, and this is money that you should have been in my savings account, or rather in my emergency fund. And so you'll be able to make very easy decisions if you apply the cost per use formula. You'll be able to decide, I'm going to donate it, I'm going to gift it, I'm going to sell it. And yes, it's indeed true that not all items that you purchase will fit into the cost per use formula, and this is because some items are usually a one-off items, so such as a flight ticket. Yeah, so not everything will fall into the cost per use formula, but I can promise you most of the things that you're about to buy, or most of the things that you're about to hit checkout, you can use the cost per use formula to decide whether it is a good purchase, or rather whether it is a valuable purchase or not. There are very many ways to apply the cost per use formula, but because I do not want to make this video very long, I will link another video where I talked about my best money advice for young adults, and it explains further how to apply the cost per use formula. But by just watching this video this far, you are able to do. I'm sure you can tell by now that this item that I was about to buy is not going to bring me so much value in my life. I'm hoping that you're able to link value to your emergency fund, this emergency fund that you've been building for the last 11 months. And so I encourage you not to blow your emergency fund in one day. Your emergency fund, your 1 year emergency fund, has very long-term value, right? It's a situation where if you lost your job tomorrow, you'd be able to sustain your life. If a tap broke in your house, you'd be able to fix it. If you fell sick, right, of course in combination with your medical insurance, you'd be able to go to the pharmacy, you'll be able to see a doctor and get back to your life and get moving. That is how valuable your emergency fund is. So yes, I am not saying do not buy anything during this Black Friday, but please do not withdraw money from your emergency fund in order for you to do this. And so let's go back to our conversation about the 1 year emergency fund challenge. The goal is usually to give an update on how Wealth Thrivers are doing with this challenge, and at the same time it's usually to applaud those of you who are doing very, very well. And so in today's video, I am going to talk about one Wealth Triber. I'm going to start as always by reading her feedback, and then we will go, because at the same time I always want these videos to be very practical, we will go to my laptop and we will see the statement from this Wealth Triber. We will analyze her money market fund statement in order to see how has she been able to achieve this milestone of having $1 million shillings in her emergency fund. Hi Agatha, I hope you're well. I just want to say thank you for how incredibly helpful you have been in helping setting up the money market fund account and all the educational videos on YouTube. I was a bit iffy about Sanlam or any money market fund for that matter until I started following you last year. Nikaona it was legit. Aki, you people. So some of you have been thinking that money market funds are not legit. So I started my Sanlam money market fund mid-March this year and have been cruising nicely, because 7 months in, I have 743,316 shillings. So that's great. This is the second money market fund I have opened this year, thanks to you. Yay! So I was very proud. The other one, I have done 1 million already. I'm so thankful for all you do. So the reason I wanted to highlight this lady in this month's video is because I have helped her set up 2 money market funds accounts. She already achieved 1 million in one account, and then she decided she wanted to open another account for a different goal, and in this second account she already has 743,316 shillings. And every time somebody has such tremendous progress, I always ask them, what were you doing with your money before you discovered money market funds? Like, what were you doing with your money before I helped you set up a money market fund account? And most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you guys usually tell me that I was saving money in my bank account. Yeah, I was using my current account or a fixed deposit in a bank to save money, and I always feel pain. Even if that is not my money, I always feel so much pain because of how much you as Wealth Tribers are losing by just having your money stay in a bank account. And if you're wondering why I always recommend that you move your money to your money market fund as opposed to having your money in a bank, is because of the power of compounding interest, so that you can employ the power of compounding interest. And I have made several videos and one very good guide about how compounding interest works, and I will link it somewhere. And because of that, now let's go to my computer and see see how has this wealth triber been able to achieve this this balance of 743,316 since March. So let's go. As always, when I'm doing these videos, we start by understanding how to read your money market fund statement, because I always get that question. So the first thing on your money market fund statement is the transaction date, which is the date you deposited money, withdrew, the date the transaction happened. Then there's the description of the transaction. There's the deposit, how much money the investor deposited. There's the interest, how much is the investor earning in interest. Withdrawal, has the investor withdrawn any money within the period from their money market fund. There's the withholding tax, because all money market funds charge 15% in withholding tax from your interest. So your principal or your investment amount is not going to be charged withholding tax, or rather is not going to be taxed. It's only your interest that is going to be taxed. And finally, the running balance, so the balance at the end of the transactions. And so, as the wealth triber said in her feedback message, she said that I helped her set up this money market fund account in March 2024, March this year. And so when I help you set up the money market fund, you have to invest the minimum 2,500 in order for your account to be set up. That's mandatory. And this 2,500 is not a fee. Yes, it's not an account opening fee. It is part of your investment. So when your account is finally set up, you will be able to see that 2,500 in your account balance. You can see in the same month of March, she has made very many deposits. Yeah, in that March. So in March 8th, March 19th, March 21st, March 22nd, and March 27th, she made many deposits. And I'm saying this because a lot of wealth tribers ask me, is it okay for me to make multiple deposits in money market fund? So I hope this shows you that yes, a money market fund is a very free investment account, right? You can withdraw anytime, you can deposit anytime, you can make multiple deposits. It's not a closed investment account. So yes, you can make multiple deposits. So in that month, at the end of that month, she had made deposits worth 118,000. Yes, at the end of March, she earned some interest, which was 236 shillings 0.81. And I know keyboard warriors will be in my comment section talking about that is very little money. And this comes from the fact that I've seen so many people online talking about how they deposited money in their money market fund account, and at the end of the month they only earned 16 shillings in interest, or 20 shillings in interest, 8 shillings in interest, and they make so much fun out of it. But I will remind you again, as I always say in my other videos, how much money you earn from your money market fund account is a factor of how much money you've put in and how long you have been investing. And so that is why it makes sense for this wealth triber to only earn 236 shillings and 81 cents, because she has been invested for less than a month, right? So we continue. And then in April, she made again very many multiple deposits. And so at the end of April, she had a total of 373. And so she was able to now make 2,755 shillings 0.44, right, in interest. But 413.32 of that was deducted to go towards her withholding tax. And yes, and I forgot, even in the first month, 35 shillings was deducted to go towards withholding tax. And so this wealth triber, first of all, has been consistent since March with her deposits. And so she continued depositing in April, in May. And so at the end of May now, which is the third month she was invested, she earned more interest. And so she earned 5,579.43 in interest, and 836 shillings 0.92 was deducted in withholding tax. Yes, at the end of June, she earned 6,638 shillings 0.79 in interest. It keeps growing, and they deducted 995.82 to go towards her withholding tax. And then July, she kept depositing. In July, she made 3 deposits, as you can see. And in July, she earned 7,748 shillings in interest, 0.44. 1,162.27 went towards her withholding tax. And in August, she only made one deposit because, you know, life happens. Sometimes you're not able to put too much towards your investment. And she also made a withdrawal. So as you can see, in August, she made her first withdrawal, which is okay. She made her first withdrawal of 15,000, but still her interest still grew, because in at the end of August she had made 8,094 shillings for 90 in interest, and 1,214.23 was deducted in withholding tax. And in September she made very many multiple deposits. I like the fact that she makes the deposits when she has the money, you know, like she made 2,000, 4,000, 5,000, another 5,000, 1,700. She's very consistent with her deposits. If that works for you, that is okay. You can either make many small deposits. Of course, you have to factor the cost of transaction. So because usually when you make a deposit through M-Pesa to your money market fund account, you'll be charged M-Pesa transaction charges. If you make through your bank, you'll be charged you'll be charged bank transaction charges. So you always have to think about the cost of the transaction. So I'm just telling you this so that you do what works for you, but of course you don't want to lose so much money towards transactional charges. Those small costs also add up. At the end of September, she made 7,671.24 in interest. She continued making deposits in October, and at the end of October she made 8,549.84 in interest, and she was deducted 1,282.48 in withholding tax. And so in total she has made 47,274.85 in interest, and she has withdrawn 15,000 from her account, and she has paid 7,091.23 in withholding tax, total in withholding tax. And so her total account balance at the moment is 750,583.65. Of course, it's going to be more by the end of November, because they have not accounted for how much interest in this statement. They have not accounted for how much interest she has made in November. You're wondering, okay, this sounds exciting, how can I join this challenge? So we are in November, so we are about to end the challenge, right? So if you join now, you'll probably not be part of the 2024's 1 million emergency fund challenge. But Wealth Tribers have told me that so many Wealth Tribers who joined the Wealth Tribe along the way, and you know, by joining the Wealth Tribe, it means either following me on Instagram, joining my newsletter, which I will leave a link in the description box, you know, joining my newsletter, subscribing on YouTube. Very many Wealth Tribers have said, oh my God, I wish I joined this challenge in January. I wish I joined this challenge earlier on in the year, but I wasn't able to. But I'm very prepared and very psyched to join this challenge in 2025. So I am thinking that we will have to do this challenge again in 2025. Actually, tell me. Yes, I have had so many of you, over like 50 of you, tell me, can we do this again in 2025 because I missed it? And there's also people who are like, by being part of this challenge in 2024, it built my savings discipline. So please, let's do it again. But I'm asking the rest of you, should we do this challenge again? And if you're new here, should we do this challenge in 2025? Because usually I want to make a decision based on what you guys want. So tell me if you want us to repeat this challenge in 2025. And at the same time, if we don't repeat this 1 million emergency fund challenge in 2025, which other challenge do you want us to take part in? Because in 2024 we did this 1 million emergency fund challenge, and I've also been investing 5,000 shillings per month in the VUCA investment club, in the Econ I Write Through VUCA. I will link guides if you're new here. Yes, so yeah, those are the two challenges we've been doing. So in 2025, what do you want us to do? Please leave me your suggestions so that I can consider them as early as now as I plan for 2025. So if you want to join this challenge in 2025, and even if you want to join now, maybe there is money you have been putting in your bank account, maybe the whole year you've not have a savings plan and you want something, you want direction with your savings, how to join is simple. So I will leave a link in the pinned comment or in the description box with a link. Click that link to submit your application for a Sanlam Money Market Fund account. The application process is very easy. It's usually like just the same way you'd go and open a bank account. So you'll be asked for your KRA PIN, for your one-page bank statement, or the front side of your ATM card, not the back side, the front side of your ATM card. What else? A copy of your ID or passport and a passport size photo. That's all you need to upload, and invest 2,000, the minimum 2,500 in order for your account to be approved. So yes, click the link in my description or the link in the pinned comment and submit your application for an account. The second thing that will happen is once you submit your application, please send me an email to agatha@thewealthtribe.com and tell me, "Hi Agatha, I have submitted my application for Sanlam Money Market Fund account. Please add me to your accountability list." So what is my accountability list? So usually every month, or rather twice a month, I send an email to the people who are in my newsletter or the people who are in my accountability list to remind them to keep going, right? To remind them that we're in this challenge, this is how much money you should have saved by mid-month, this is how much money you should have saved at the end of the month. So I am your accountability partner. I am your cheerleader to make sure that you smash all your financial goals, and especially the 1 million emergency fund challenge. How have you been? Right? So that was One Wealth Triber's statement. So how have you been since you joined this challenge? Are you proud? Because me, hey, I'm so proud of the things that I've achieved this year. So are you proud of your progress so far? How much have you saved? And the comment section, of course, is a very public platform. So if you do not want to say exactly how much you have been able to save and invest this year, you can always DM me in my Instagram or send me an email to share your progress. I'm always very happy and very proud to read your progress reports. And so with that, let's keep going. We have 31 days. At the end, the next video that I'm going to create about this 1 million emergency fund challenge, of course, it's going to be balloons and confetti, celebrating the fact that we have 1 million shillings towards our 1 million emergency fund challenge. And so with that, bye bye. As always, my name is Agatha, and this is where we learn how to build wealth. You know it by now. Together. Bye bye.